Signal from the Dead Planet, Part 1, The Silence Between Stars. They said Delta 05 was dead. Cold. Forgotten. I remember the mission brief. Unmanned probes confirmed a geologically inert planet. No tectonics. No atmosphere. No life. We're sending you to confirm. Just like that. A glorified stamp on a galactic death certificate. No one sends a man to confirm nothing unless they expect to find something. They picked me for a reason. I don't ask questions. I fly. I land. I sample rocks. I report. And if something starts whispering in the dark? Well, they know I've already been broken once. I arrived on Delta 05 on day 0. My ship, the Calypso, touched down with the subtle grace of an exhausted bird. Thin dust curled around the landing gear like it had been waiting centuries for company. Everything looked wrong. Not a danger wrong, more like wrong lighting in a familiar room. The sky wasn't black, but a shade of blue too deep to exist. The rocks seemed placed, not scattered. And the silence. Have you ever heard silence so thick it hurts? Out here, it's like it wraps around your skull and presses inward. I found myself talking just to break it. Mission log, Delta 5. Commander Elias Moore. Surface seemed stable. Visibility fair. No immediate threats. My voice felt like an intrusion. Like the planet itself disapproved. I unpacked the basics: atmospheric sampler, seismic sticks, long-range comms relay. Routine. Boring. But I kept checking the horizon. Waiting for something to move. Nothing did. Night fell like someone flipping a switch. No dusk. No gradual fade. One moment light, the next, black velvet. I should have been in my bunk. Instead, I stood by the external sensors, watching for what, exactly? And then, the signal came. A soft ping. Like sonar. But twisted, like it echoed through water and bone. Ping. Ping. The Calypso's receiver chirped, confused. I leaned in, frowning. Repeat that, control. I'm receiving an unscheduled ping on channel. No response. Only static. The signal came again. And this time, it wasn't a ping. It was a voice. My voice. If you're hearing this, I'm already gone. I froze. Every instinct screamed glitch. Feedback. Hallucination. But the voice continued. Don't trust what you see. Delta 05 isn't dead. It's dreaming. And dreams have teeth. Then, static. I played it again. And again. Every time, it was me. My tone. My cadence. Down to the nervous hitch in the throat. But I hadn't recorded anything. My hands were shaking. Next morning, I ran diagnostics. The signal hadn't originated from the ship. No logs, no outgoing messages. But there was a timestamp. T+6 days. 6 days in the future. I hadn't sent the message yet. I didn't tell Control. What would I say? Hey, I got a spooky voicemail from future me? They'd yank me off the mission. Maybe ground me for good. Instead, I buried it in the logs. Pretended it didn't happen. That worked for a while. Until the dreams started. They weren't dreams in the normal sense. I wasn't asleep. I'd blink, and suddenly I was somewhere else. The same landscape, but twisted. The dust bleeding red. The rocks humming. I'd see my reflection in shattered glass, and it would smile before I did. Sometimes I'd hear screaming. Muffled. As if it was coming from beneath the surface. Once, I woke up covered in soil, standing 50 meters from the Calypso, no memory of leaving. That's when I set up the recorder. I needed to know if I was losing it, or if something else was happening. Day 3, 2:17 a.m. The recording caught movement. The camera showed me standing outside the ship. Still. Head tilted up at the sky. Mouth moving, but no sound. Then I turned. And stared directly at the camera. Not at it. Through it. I smiled. The same smile from the signal. And then I whispered something, barely audible. I enhanced it 6 times before I caught it. You shouldn't have come. I almost aborted the mission. Almost. Instead, I went further. Past the perimeter. Past the dead craters and silent stones. It wasn't courage. It was obsession. I needed to know what was happening. To me. And that's when I found the hole. A perfectly round shaft, cut into the ground. Not natural. Not eroded. Engineered. There were markings around the rim, not language, exactly. More like impressions. Symbols etched by something that thought differently. I dropped a flare. It fell for a full 10 seconds before vanishing into the dark. No sound. No impact. Just gone. I didn't go down. I'm not insane. But I marked the coordinates and returned. Or at least, I thought I did. When I got back, the Calypso was gone. Not damaged. Not relocated. Gone. Like it had never been there. Panic doesn't begin to cover it. I screamed. Cursed. Ran in circles. Then I saw it, my own footprints, leading to where the ship should be, and then just stopping. Wiped clean. I sat down. Tried to control my breathing. And then I heard the ping again. Not from the comms. From the ground. I pressed my ear to the soil. And heard my own heartbeat coming from beneath. I slept under the stars that night, if you can call it sleep. I dreamed of mirrors. Of hands reaching through them. Of me, dozens of me, screaming in unison. And a voice kept repeating. It has to happen like this. It always does. Day 4. I found the ship again. Exactly where it had been. Untouched. Engines warm. But something was wrong. The logs were different. They showed entries for Day 6. Day 7. Day 8. Future entries. Written by me. Each one darker than the last. Day 6, the whole calls to me. I think I'm ready. Day 7, I saw myself today. He looked older. Tired. Day 8, there is no out. Only through. I didn't remember writing any of it. But the handwriting was mine. I opened the airlock and almost screamed. A figure stood inside the cabin. Facing away. Silent. I raised my cutter torch. Identify yourself. The figure turned. And I saw myself. Older. Haggard. Bloodshot eyes. Skin like ash. He didn't speak. Just raised a finger to his lips. Shush. Then he vanished. No sound. No trace. Like a skipped frame in a bad film. Now I sit here, recording this log. Not for control. Not for the mission. For you. For whoever finds this. Delta 5 is not dead. It's listening. It hears every breath you take. Every step you make. It dreams in echoes. In reflections. And it wants something. Something from me. Part 2, The Hollow Below. I tried not to read the future logs again. But of course, I did. Over and over. Each time, I caught something new, a turn of phrase I didn't recognize, a smudge I didn't remember leaving. One entry simply read, "I am not alone in my skin." I wanted to laugh it off, to blame radiation or cabin fever. But Delta 5 didn't have radiation. And I'd trained for isolation. This was different. This was like my mind was becoming porous. Like something was dripping in. I stopped sleeping. Couldn't risk it. Not after I caught myself standing outside again, no memory of how I got there. Every night, I'd bolt the cabin, tie myself down with emergency straps, and leave the cameras rolling. And still, every morning, I'd wake up with dirt under my nails. Day 5. I got a message from Control. Or thought I did. It started normal, static, then the usual encryption tones. But instead of a human voice, I heard something that sounded like a child humming. Off-key. Repeating the same 4 notes. Over and over. Then a whisper, barely audible. Keep digging. I yanked off my headset and smashed it against the console. It kept humming. Even without power. Only stopped when I stuffed it in the sample locker and sealed it. By now, the only thing that felt real was the hole. It didn't change, but it felt closer. Like the world was shrinking around it. Like it was the only fixed point, and everything else, the stars, the rocks, even me, was just orbiting its hunger. I brought the drone. Sent it down with lights, sonar, full suite of sensors. I watched on the monitor as it descended. The shaft had no end. The readings began to fail one by one. Altitude, blank. Pressure, blank. Signal strength. Static. Then the feed returned. For just 1 second. The screen showed the inside of my cabin. Me. Sleeping. And something standing over me. Not quite me. I shut it off. Too late. The image burned itself into my memory. Its eyes, my eyes, were too wide. Too still. As if they hadn't blinked in a long, long time. That night, I stopped fighting sleep. Let it take me. The dreams were different. Clearer. I saw the surface of Delta 5 split open like a cracked egg. Swarms of shadows pouring out. But they weren't attacking. They were assembling. Into shapes. Into people. Into me. Hundreds of me. Marching silently into the hole. And above it all, a sound. Like a heartbeat made of static. Then, silence. I woke with blood on my hands. Not mine. I checked the ship, nothing. No signs of entry. No injuries. But the blood was real. And warm. I started to cry. Not because I was scared. But because I could feel myself slipping. My name, my mission, my memories, they were becoming fog. I looked in the mirror, and for a second, I couldn't remember which version of me I was supposed to be. Day 6. The day of the original transmission. The one I hadn't sent yet. I knew what I had to do. I sat down at the comms panel, took a breath, and hit record. If you're hearing this, I'm already gone. I repeated the message exactly as I'd heard it. Word for word. Even the line I didn't understand at the time. Delta A5 isn't dead. It's dreaming. And dreams have teeth. When I finished, I felt hollow. Like I'd just sealed my own fate. Then came the knock. Yes, a knock. From outside the ship. 3 slow taps on the outer hull. Like someone politely asking to be let in. I unstrapped myself. Walked to the airlock. Tried the external cam. Nothing. But the pressure sensors disagreed. They registered a mass outside. Human-sized. I waited. Another knock. Closer this time. I opened the inner door, not the outer. I'm not stupid. But I stood there, hand on the panel, trembling. Because I could hear breathing on the other side. Slow. Ragged. Like mine when I'm having a panic attack. Then, a voice. Just above a whisper? We're not alone in here, Elias. Not out here. In here. I ran. Didn't grab a suit. Didn't grab a pack. Just ran across the dust plains, toward the hole. I didn't even look back. Because I knew what I'd see. I'd see myself. Standing at the airlock. Smiling. Waving. I made it to the shaft. Dropped another flare. This time, it landed. Hit something soft. I heard it. A wet sound. Like meat. Then movement. Below. Shifting shapes. And voices. Hundreds of them. All me. Laughing. Crying. Screaming. I got on my knees. And for the first time, I screamed back. That's when the ground gave out. Just a few inches. Enough to slip. I caught the edge. Hung there. Kicking. The voices got louder. Urgent. Begging. One, in particular, stood out. Not my voice. Not exactly. It was younger. Familiar. My brother. Eli, don't let go. I haven't heard that voice in 10 years. Not since he died. I pulled myself up. Fell back into the dust, shaking. I sat there for hours. Staring at the hole. Listening. Eventually, the voices faded. I stumbled back to the Calypso. And it was gone again. But this time, I wasn't surprised. This time, I understood. I hadn't come to study Delta 5. Delta 5 had called me here. To remember something. Or maybe, to become something. I'm starting to believe I never left the hole. Maybe I fell days ago. Maybe everything since has been a story I'm telling myself on the way down. Maybe that's what we are, the stories we repeat to ourselves, to delay the impact. But we always hit the bottom. Eventually. Part 3, Fragments of Me. I didn't eat for 2 days. The food was there. Rations. Pills. Hydro packets. But the hunger wasn't in my stomach anymore. It was behind my eyes. In the space between thoughts. A hunger for answers. For truth. Whatever Delta 5 was, it was showing me things. Letting me remember things I hadn't lived. Or maybe had forgotten. That's when I stopped thinking of the planet as a place and started thinking of it as a mirror. I found the Calypso again on day 8. Just standing there. Lights on. Door open. Like nothing had happened. Like it was waiting for me to come home. This time, I didn't go inside. Not yet. I circled it slowly, studying every detail. The serial numbers. The landing scratches. Even the smudge on the window from my breath that first night. It was real. Solid. But the logs were different again. They had new entries. Not in my handwriting. But in my voice. Day 10, he's starting to see it. The folds. The loops. It always begins like this. Day 11, I think he'll choose to descend. He always does. Day 12, tell him about the boy. That's when the cracks form. I stared at the screen for a long time. The boy. My brother. How could this thing, this planet, know about him? His name was Jonah. He died when I was 16. Fell through the ice at Lake Carrin during a camping trip. I tried to save him, I did, but I wasn't fast enough. And I never told anyone what he said right before he slipped under. You'll follow me one day. I'll be waiting. I told myself I imagined it. But now, all these years later, on a dead planet light years from Earth, that voice was back. Clear as the day I lost him. Follow me, Eli. I went back to the hole. Tied a line. Checked my harness. Double secured the winch. And I descended. Not far. Just 20 meters. But far enough. The walls pulsed slightly, like breathing stone. Symbols etched into the surface moved when I wasn't looking at them. They shifted when I blinked. Rearranged. Not written. Remembered. I realized something then. These weren't alien markings. They were thoughts. Memories. Mine. At the bottom of the rope, I found a platform. Smooth. Artificial. It had no dust. A single console stood in the center. Glowing. I approached. It powered on when I touched it. And a recording played, automatically. A voice I knew too well. Mine. Older. Cracked with time and regret. If you're hearing this, then you're ready. Or desperate. Doesn't matter which. We're inside the fold now. Past time. Past identity. You're not the first version of you to come this far. Not even close. Delta 5 is a memory vault. A recursive thought. It doesn't show you what's there. It shows you what's yours. And every time we come here, we leave a little more behind. Then static. And a reflection in the console. Not mine. Someone standing behind me. I spun. Nothing there. But the reflection lingered. I reached out to touch it, and the surface rippled like water. Without thinking, I stepped through. Now, listen carefully. This part's hard to explain. I didn't travel somewhere. I fractured. I was still in the hole. Still on Delta 5. But I was also sitting at my mother's funeral, age 24, tears frozen in my eyes. Watching Jonah slip under the ice, again and again and again. Floating above Earth in my training pod, watching a sunrise that made me believe in God. All at once. Not memories. Moments. I wasn't recalling them. I was living them. simultaneously. And through all of them, one thing was constant. A figure watching me. Tall. Silent. Wearing my face. I collapsed. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't scream. Because every time I tried, a different version of me did it instead. And they weren't screaming in fear. They were laughing. I woke on the surface. No rope. No console. Just dirt in my mouth and blood on my palms. The sun, if you can call it that, was high. Blue as bruises. The Calypso stood nearby. Dark. Empty. Waiting again. I didn't go back inside. I found a rock. Sat down. Tried to record. But my voice, it didn't sound like mine anymore. Too many echoes. Too many versions. Somewhere along the way, I'd stopped being one Elias Moore. Now I was a composite. Fragments. Colliding. Competing. But then, something shifted. A presence. Not external. Internal. It spoke, from inside my thoughts. You are the anomaly. You are the loop breaker. And I knew. This had happened before. Hundreds, maybe thousands of times. Each time, a version of me arrived. Investigated. Descended. Lost himself in the recursion. But this time, I remembered. Not just my life. But the others. All of them. Every cycle. Every failure. There was one ending I hadn't tried. One choice I'd never made. Not fighting it. Not escaping it. But completing it. I walked to the hole. No rope this time. Just me. I stepped over the edge. And fell. And that's where I am now. Falling. Still. No end in sight. But I'm not afraid. Because for the first time, I'm not running from Delta 05. I'm becoming it. And maybe, that's what I've always been. Not a man on a mission. But a message. A signal. Sent to myself. Part for I am the message? I don't know how long I've been falling. There's no gravity here. No up, no down. Only inward. I thought I'd hit bottom eventually. But maybe that's not how this place works. Maybe it's not a hole in the ground. Maybe it's a tunnel through self. I see them now. All of them. The other versions. Each trapped in their own infinite loops, some whispering to themselves in corners, some scratching words into stone walls, some just staring. Empty. Exhausted. Forgotten. And I know why I'm different. I remembered the boy. Jonah. My anchor. My fracture point. The original trauma that made me vulnerable to this place. Delta 5 doesn't kill you. It hollows you. Takes what hurts, what haunts, and feeds it back to you are louder, deeper, clearer, until it becomes all you are. Until you believe you were the one who died. There's a place beyond the falling. I feel it now. A platform. Ancient. Circular. Symbols etched in every language I've ever dreamed in. At the center, a chair. I sit. The seat conforms to me, not physically, but psychologically. It feels like confession. Then the voices begin. Hundreds. Thousands. Every me I've ever been. Everyone I might have become. All speaking at once. This is the transmission center. We don't explore Delta 05. We are Delta 05. It clicks, finally. This planet was never a location. It was a construct. A signal amplifier. A way to send information through recursion. Through trauma. Through people. Each visitor leaves more behind. Each iteration sharpens the message. Until the signal isn't just data. It's a person. Me. I am the message. Encoded in memory. Wrapped in pain. Broadcast on repeat. You'll follow me one day. I'll be waiting. Jonah wasn't warning me. He was inviting me. He'd come here too. And he'd become something more. The air around me thickens. Vibrates. A final question forms, not in sound, but in intuition. Transmit? I hesitate. Because I know what it means. If I transmit, I stop being me. No more Elias Moore. No more guilt. No more questions. Just purpose. I could refuse. Wake up in my suit. Stumble back to the surface. Try to warn the next crew. But that's the loop. That's the trap. And I'm not here to repeat it. I'm here to end it. Or start something new. So I say it. One word. Transmit. Everything burns. My memories. My voices. My shape. Stripped down, atom by atom, thought by thought, until only the signal remains. And it's beautiful. It pulses outward in every direction. Carrying fragments of me across time, space, and identity. To Earth. To Mars. To the edge of the known. And somewhere, a new explorer hears it. My voice. Their voice. Saying, if you're hearing this, I'm already gone. Delta A5 isn't dead. It's dreaming. And dreams have teeth. This isn't a warning. This is evolution. End transmission.